I'm getting ready to take a look at the V40 Pro from Fifth Wheel. I did a full review on the V30 Pro from Fifth Wheel a few months ago, and that was a pretty good scooter, but this should be an upgrade to that. I'm going to unbox it, put it together, and see what all that entails, but if it's anything like the V30, that was pretty simple and straightforward, so there shouldn't be too much to the unboxing and the assembly portion. And that's a good thing, because it's hot out here today. Got our charging cable here in this box. It's a 1.5 amp charger. I'm going to get the battery information and put that on the screen right now. And we've got our hardware bag here. We've got our T-handle Allen wrench and 4 screws. That's what I like to see. That means this thing's going to be really easy to put together. And I almost missed it, but here is our user manual. There's what it looks like packaged inside the box, so it's pretty well packed. I almost missed it, but it does have assembly instructions, and I don't think we're going to need them. Like I said, you just put the handlebars in there, use these 4 screws to tie it down, and you're good to go. So I want to do a quick overview, and I do mean quick overview of the v40 app. That's what you use to connect to the scooter and control it. I've done a full deep dive of this app on my review of the V30 scooter from Fifth Wheel, so if you want to see that deep dive, you can check that out. But you use this app to connect to the scooter, and you can use it to lock the scooter. I'm going to show you an example of that now. So now if I try to move the scooter, it's going to push back and beep at me, so I'm not able to just ride off with it. And to unlock it, you just swipe up. And the thing that I like about this is I can go in and turn cruise control on or off, or zero start on or off. I like zero start being turned on. Basically that allows me to just hit the throttle and take off without needing to kick the scooter. And cruise control, I usually turn that off because it's so easy to hold the throttle down and just hit your cruise speed anyway. And cruise control on scooters usually beeps when you hit your cruise control limit. So I usually just turn cruise control off, but that is a feature that you can turn on and leave on if you so choose. Anyway, that's the v40 app. Like I said, if you want to see a deep dive of how the v40 app works, check out my V30 Pro review. It's in there. But I see this thing as pretty intuitive and self-explanatory, so I didn't want to over-explain this. Alright, so I normally do the walk around on the scooter before I do the ride, but we got rain coming, so I'm going to do the ride first so I can get back here under the shelter and then do the walk around. But I'm going to try to take off through the gravel first. Here we go. And then I'm going to try to ride through that grass. This has solid rubber wheels, so we're going to see how it does. Not the best in gravel. In grass, definitely a lot better than gravel, but this is something that is absolutely made for paved roads. It's got some decent power for sure. This is a 48 volt system. The V30 had a 36 volt system, so I can tell already this is definitely a lot stronger than the V30. We're at 10 miles per hour in eco mode. And I'm going to stop here. We're going to go through all of the modes. Alright, so I've popped up to D mode now. This is the middle section mode in between Eco and Sport. So we're going to see how fast we can go now. Yeah, this thing has some power for sure. It's a 400 watt motor with 800 watt peak. And we're up to 15 miles per hour in D mode. Now I'm going to stop and go up into sport mode. Alright, now we are in sport mode, and this is going to give us our top, this is going to give us our top speed. And yeah, this thing definitely has some get up and go, especially in sport mode. And we are capping out at 20 miles per hour. Not bad, and it's a pretty comfortable 20 miles per hour. A lot of times these scooters, when you get too fast on them, they really kind of feel like they're all over the place. This one's got enough weight to it, which its weight is which its weight is 37 pounds. So it's got enough weight there to give you a little bit more stability than a smaller scooter would. The downside to that is it's kind of big. It's a lot bigger than what you would picture for like a kid. So this is going to be a great scooter for like a teenager, not so much a little kid. All right, we're out here at a different park today, and the reason I came out here was just to do some hill climbing tests. The ride that I did yesterday, there were no hills on that test whatsoever, so here we go. We are going to see what we can do on a minor hill here. And with this very minor grade hill, the scooter is tearing right up to the top of it, and I'm in D mode, so it's going to basically be even faster going up the hill if you were to do this in sport mode. Now I've got a really major hill coming up over here. We're going to test this one out. This one's a bit more steep, so we're going to see how it does with this hill. And this scooter is definitely not a hill climbing beast, being a front wheel drive scooter, but on that minor hill it did pretty good. Now let's see what it can do on this more serious hill now. This is definitely a lot more steeper hill, so here we go. Still in D mode. If I were to get into sport mode, it would climb it a lot faster. And it's actually making it up this hill, which I'm surprised. A lot of scooters just don't have any real hill climbing power. And now I'm going to demonstrate cruise control. Generally, I turn cruise control off on scooters because when you attain cruise control speed, it beeps and it annoys me. And the throttle on this scooter is so easy to hold down and just control your speed that way that I just don't see the need for cruise control. But anyway, this is how it works. I'm going to take off, and when we hit our top speed, it should cap out there for a few seconds, and then it'll beep and let us know that it is holding that speed. Okay, so it just beeped. We're at 15 miles per hour, and as you can see, I let my thumb off the throttle, and we are just zipping along now, and it's holding that speed. If you go in if you go into a higher speed mode, like sport mode, it's going to cap out at a higher speed. And if you hold it in, say, eco mode, it's going to cap out at a lower speed. And 15 was a little bit too fast for this trail on that curve. Okay, so that's it for all of the modes. I'm going to ride down 3 miles, just a little over 3 miles, and turn around, come back, giving us 6 miles total. And then when we get back, we're going to see what kind of battery life we have left. I left on a full charge, and I can talk about how the thing's handling, which is really, really well. The wheels are solid rubber, like I said, but it's got some absorption built into each wheel, shock absorption that is. It's got some shocks on the front and the back, so it really does a great job of absorbing all of the bumps and dips that I'm hitting along the road. And we got some dogs here. Thanks, buddy.
Snuck up on it.
Yeah. Other than that, it's riding really nice. Like I said, I'll go over the features of the scooter when I get back under the shelter, but I can feel raindrops already, so I want to get down there and get back ASAP. I do not want to get caught in a storm. We got our roughest patch coming up here. We're going to see how the scooter goes over these patches, but I'm definitely going to take off from a stop. I don't want to hit these things at 20 miles per hour, and this is a good chance to test the brakes. Very nice, no complaints there. Here we go. We're going to go over the rough patch here. We're at about 10 miles per hour going over these rough patches, and it's not bad. I mean, definitely not something I would want to ride on all day, but it does handle the occasional bump with no problem. And one of the things I notice is because you are a bit top heavy, if you hit the brakes a little bit too hard, it does kind of jerk you a bit when you stop. Overall, so far, no complaints with how the scooter is riding. I normally don't do my range tests like this at top speed at 20 miles per hour, but like I said, I can see that we got storms coming, so I want to get back and get under a shelter before the storms get here. I'll probably get pretty lucky based on this. I might get a little bit wet by the time we get back, but for the most part, this is where it's nice to have the extra speed on a powerful scooter like this, because when you do need to kick it into high gear, it's got it when you need it. And I definitely would not want to be going back at like 12 miles per hour getting caught in a storm. So I gotta be brutally honest, I'm really not a big fan of scooters because they generally are either not powerful enough or they're a little bit like just weird and awkward to ride. And the really powerful ones are just too powerful for their ergonomics, in my opinion. The like race scooters are just absurdly fast. But this one seems to be like the sweet spot, right where it needs to be. If I were going to choose a scooter, I gotta say this is probably my favorite one that I've ridden so far, and I've ridden some pretty powerful scooters, ones that are definitely more powerful than this, but they are not my cup of tea. This one though, 48 volt, it's hitting just right. Okay, we are at the midway point and I have run it flat out the entire ride. We've dropped 1 bar out of 5. I'm going to turn around and go back now. That's going to put another 3 miles on it, just a little over 3 miles actually. We're going to head back, see where we're at, but like I said, I weigh 200 pounds and I've been riding it flat out this entire ride. Yeah, I can definitely feel the sprinkles starting to come down now. It's going to be a race getting back, top speed as fast as I can go, which this is one of those times that I would take more than 20 miles per hour on a scooter. I'm 5'10" and the handlebars are at the perfect height for me. I am having my hands just a little over waist height, maybe a little over belly button height. So if you're a lot taller than that, if you're a lot taller or a lot shorter than 5'10", this might not be the scooter for you because there's no adjustment to the handlebars. But if you're in that range, say, I don't know, 5'6" to 6'3" or whatever, this is probably going to be just fine as far as the ride goes. There's also plenty of room on the board for my feet. I wear a size 11 and it's a very comfortable ride. So with this scooter being an upgrade from the V40 Pro, which was a 36 volt system, and I honestly don't remember the wattage output on that one. This one's a 400 watt and 800 watt peak. The upside is this one's going to go considerably faster and have a bit more pep. The downside is if you use that pep and use that speed, it's going to blow through the battery a lot faster. So it's just a matter of how you want to ride. Now you could go down into a lower mode and preserve the battery. I'm not doing that today because I was getting rained on. Back over these bumps. Really not bad. So as far as portability goes, this one is a bit on the bigger side for a scooter, but it's not as big as like a big pro race scooter. So it does fold up, fits into my hatchback just fine. It'll probably fit in the trunk of a car just fine, but it is a bit on the big side, and it does weigh 37 pounds. As far as sitting on the scale of portability, I would say it is definitely not as good as a small folding scooter, but it is a lot better than, say, a 20-inch fat tire e-bike. All right, we're coming back to the beginning of the ride now. We're a bit over 6 miles total. Let's get up here and get under this shelter and see how we did for range. All right, final range check-in. We have 5 bars. We've got 3 of them left. All right, we'll do a walk around now. I can show you what we get with the scooter, and miraculously the rain did stop, so we're going to do this outside of the shelter where we got some nicer lighting. But this is our power button here. You hold that for a few seconds to turn the scooter on, and it remembered the last mode I was in. It's in sport mode. Tap the button one time, that turns on the headlight and the tail light. I would not trust that headlight too much. That's not very bright, but I wouldn't be riding a scooter much at nighttime anyway. Another cool thing that this scooter has here is some club and bling, so if you really want to look cool, you got that. Also, while we're talking about lighting, these are the turn signals, and they are actually pretty bright. It does not have turn signals at the bottom on the rear, but these things are plenty bright enough, and they stick out on the sides, so you should be able to see them from both the front and the back without any problems. And it appears they are not self-canceling. We're going to wait a second and see. Now I'm going to say they're not self-canceling, so you got to tap them again to cancel. And then over here is what the right side looks like. Pretty much the same. So if we double tap, it's going to go through our various modes. We're in sport mode now. That put it in walk mode. This is going to be eco mode and drive mode, and I went through all of those modes out on the ride. And if you long press, it shuts the scooter off. We've got a single brake lever here that goes back and feeds the back brake back there, and the brakes on this thing are pretty good because it feels like if you grab them too hard when you're going too fast, it's going to throw you off of the thing. It does have plenty of stopping power. The grips are rubber, thick and pretty comfortable. We've got a bell here. This is our throttle, and you can set this so that it takes off with a kick before you can throttle it, or you can take off from a stop with a throttle. You can control that in the app. I've got it set to take off with just hitting the throttle. I don't want to have to kick it when I take off. Back here we got our cable-driven disc brake. Like I said, it's got plenty of stopping power. It's a front-wheel drive scooter. Like I said, it's a 48-volt, 400-watt, 800-watt peak. We've got some electrical information here without my glasses. I am not going to be able to read that, so I'll throw a picture of that on the screen right now. This is our folding lock right here, so you pull this up, pull that out, and then you can fold this back. And then we've got a latch right here, so that when you fold this down, it hooks right on the back fender, just like that. And then you can pick it up and carry it. And for the weight, it is pretty easy to carry. As I mentioned out on the ride, we've got suspension front and rear. It's a bit hard to see the rear suspension. I don't know if we'll be able to see it from the bottom or not. Let's take a look and see. Yeah, it's a spring suspension down there, so it does make for a fairly cushy ride for this whole thing. The battery is not removable, so you got to take the scooter where you charge it. As I mentioned out on the ride, it's a pretty big scooter with tall handlebars. As I also mentioned, I'm 5'10", 200 pounds. I'm not a giant by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not what I would consider a little guy either, so it's a pretty good sized scooter for me, and I would say that it's a bit on the bigger side. So that's it for the fifth wheel V40 Pro scooter. If you have any questions, be sure to post them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. But that's going to wrap this one up. Who is this scooter for? I think it's for probably somebody who wants a casual scooter, but they're a bit on the bigger side. It's going to be great for folding down and taking on vacations, but it is a bit on the bigger side, so it's not going to have the portability that a smaller scooter would have. Aside from that, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.